Here's what Jehovah's promising. As Jehovah's enemies, they're going to vanish like smoke.
Thanks for joining me here on this video. I want to get straight into this video with a few comments about Tony Morris of the governing body. So let's just have a look.
The subject we're going to have this morning a discussion about, while sobering, I hope you find it encouraging. I thought we'd discuss the final end of God's enemies. So it can be very encouraging, albeit sobering, how we look forward to these enemies of Jehovah, our enemies, vanishing like smoke. It just infuriates them, and hence how we look forward to the end of Jehovah's chief enemy, but as well as all the other enemies that are under his influence. Now, it's interesting, the Isaiah prophecy book had some sobering comments, and find, if you would please, very last chapter of Isaiah and the very last verse in Isaiah 66, and we're going to read verse 24. And they will go out and look on the carcasses of the men who rebelled against me, for the worms on them will not die, and their fire will not be extinguished, and they will become something repulsive to all people. So all making reference to all these that rebel against Jehovah God, his enemies. Now, and here's the warning, the final end of God's enemies and how he feels about them. Now, what is this place called Gehenna? Just to review it a little bit, and the Isaiah prophecy book had some fine thoughts to aid us with this. They quote this Jewish scholar who wrote, quoting him, "It is a place adjoining Jerusalem, and it is a loathsome place. And they throw their unclean things in carcasses. Also there was a continual fire there to burn the unclean things and the bones of the carcasses. Hence, the judgment of the wicked ones is called parabolically Gehenna," ending his quote. So the Isaiah prophecy book mentions that if, as this Jewish scholar suggests, Gehenna was used for the disposal of refuse and carcasses of those deemed unworthy of burial, fire would be a suitable means of eliminating such refuse. Now, this point, what the fire did not consume, the maggots would. Now, I don't know if you know much about maggots, but you see a whole bunch of them. It's just not a pleasant sight. But what a fitting picture of the final end of all of God's enemies. Sobering, yet something we look forward to. However, and frankly, for friends of Jehovah God, how reassuring that they're finally going to be gone. All these despicable enemies that have just reproached Jehovah's name, destroyed, never, ever to live again. Now, it's not that we rejoice in someone's death, but when it comes to God's enemies, finally, they're out of the way, especially these despicable apostates who at one point had dedicated their life to God, and then they joined forces with Satan, the devil, the chief apostate of all time. We don't want to have any friendship, whether socially or on social networks, with Jehovah's enemies. So I thought this would be a nice memory aid to this verse stay in the mind. Here's what Jehovah's promising. As Jehovah's enemies, they're going to vanish like smoke.
So, let me ask you, when you wake up first thing in the morning, what do you think of? What comes to mind? You probably are like me and lots of other people. We think about the day ahead. We might think about getting up, having breakfast. If we've got children or partners, seeing them in the morning. We might, if we've got work that day, we might think about preparing and going to work. We might think about the people we're going to see, doing our jobs. We might thinking all sorts of things, our families, our friends. I imagine for most people it's wholesome, good, positive things, but not Tony Morris of the governing body. Bearing in mind that this is a morning worship talk, so it would be a talk to encourage his followers to get involved in worship of their God in the morning. And bearing in mind that Tony Morris is the leader of an organisation, any organisational leader, their job, whether it be a corporate business or a small business or any kind of business, a school, anything like that, most leaders are there to encourage, to uplift, to inspire, to motivate their people, their followers, with inspirational thoughts, with positivity, with really good energy, so people can feel that they are going out into the world for that day to do good, whatever their business or their line of work is, or whatever it is. That is what most people are thinking first thing in the morning, and that's what leaders in organisations do around the world. But oh no, not Tony Morris of the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses. He is leading his followers in a morning worship, and instead of spreading positivity, encouragement, words to uplift the followers so that they can praise God, worship God, and be the best person, the best Christian person that they can be. No, he doesn't do that. His morning worship is all about spreading evil, spreading hatred, and this evil, horrible message from his dark, wicked heart. And he's spreading this message as a morning worship talk. Now I ask you, is that right? Is that what most people, most Jehovah's Witnesses would want first thing in the morning, to go and start their day with the thoughts of this very sad man, a very sad man who seems to have some emotional and mental problems? I went on the Jehovah's Witness website and I had a look at who or what Jehovah's Witnesses in their doctrines consider their enemies, and it is Satan and the demons. So essentially he is talking about anybody who doesn't believe what he and his friends says in Watchtower. He's basically saying that they are demonic, and therefore he's saying that they're all going to be destroyed. I just really kind of dumbfounded really at the level of hatred that this man is spreading, considering that he is supposed to be representing God, a God of love and the organisation is always quick to say how they love people. Well, this is anything but love. He talks about despicable people, in particular the apostates that he's referring to. What is despicable is the way that Jehovah's Witnesses protect abusers and paedophiles and don't provide any protection for their victims, but rather protect the wrongdoer. That is despicable. What's despicable is that their policies protect those individuals and they spread fear amongst their people so that they don't report it. What is despicable is the way that they hold people captive and use their families as a bargaining tool to stop people from leaving the organisation. What is despicable is the way that they keep people living in fear. What is despicable is their false doctrines and their false teachings which keep changing. There is so many despicable things about Anthony Morris and his colleagues in the governing body. And what is despicable is the way that he fantasizes on the death and destruction of people who choose not to believe in him and his twisted and warped evil and wicked thinking. Now, I know that a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses are good people. The rank and file are good people. They love God, they want to serve God, and they do good things. It is just that they are so deceived and they have their eyes veiled and blinded and they can't see through this web of lies and the evilness that surrounds this organisation and that is inside this organisation and that is leading the organisation. They can't see it, but I know that a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses would look at this and just go along with it for the sake of it, but in their hearts of hearts would be thinking, no, something is wrong, because that's not normal behaviour. It's not normal speak. It's not normal talk to be thinking and talking about people in this way. Yeah, I just think that it's incredibly sad that the Jehovah's Witness organisation has allowed this man to deliver this level of hatred and has put it out to the world. My personal thoughts is that he's not well, that he needs mental attention, some serious medical attention for his mental health, and he needs to retire. He needs to just get a comfy chair, a nice pair of slippers and a couple of bottles of whiskey, and he needs to just sit back and hand the reins over to other people. So yeah, it's very sad. It's very sad that the Jehovah's Witness organisation, the leaders, have allowed this video to go out in the world to really show who they are and what they are about. They're not of God. They are not of God. They are pure evil. They are the manifestation of evil, and Tony Morris is speaking from his heart. He's speaking from his heart. So guys, that is it from me. If you've not hit that red subscribe button and the bell, please do so. Thank you for being here with me on this video. I've selected two videos that you may be interested in watching. They are my perspectives and my views of Jehovah's Witnesses, and what they say and what they teach and what they preach. So please feel free to click on those videos and check them out. And as always, please like this video if you thought it was of interest, and also leave a comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Okay guys, thank you for being here with me, and I will see you on another video. Take care now.